Hey everybody, I got a question. First of all, am I crazy sitting around all these bees flying around me? So anyway, my real question is, do I upgrade my graphics card for my PC or do I get a Mac? I have reached the point where Davinci Resolve is shutting down my computer. And it's not actually Davinci Resolve. I figured out after weeks of frustration that my graphics card is getting way hot. I'm still using an RX 580. And, you know, I know it's an old card, 2017, 8 gig of RAM, you know, VRAM. It's a really good card. I mean, I've actually had no problems with it all this time that I've been using it, like zero problems. But all of a sudden, since Davinci Resolve upgraded to 18.5, it gets to a point where I'm editing for a couple of hours and boom, my computer just starts shutting down. Because I guess now Davinci Resolve is asking much more of the graphics card than it had in the past. And I gotta upgrade my card. But if I upgrade the card, it's gonna cost me probably, to get something that makes sense, like without just getting a small upgrade and spending $300 or $400, like I really should get like a 4080 or a 4090, and it's going to cost me like $1,200, if not more. And I could get a Mac Studio M2 for $2,400 for the upgrades. You know, like I would upgrade the graphics and I would upgrade the SSD. So, you know, it's base model $19.99. I get it for $24.99. And it's optimized for Davinci Resolve. And so, even though there's like probably $1,000 difference, I think that if I got the Mac, I'd be more future-proof. Plus, I would be able to export in ProRes, which I can't do now because I'm using a PC. And that's something that I would really like to do. You know, there's actually more things available in Davinci Resolve in the Mac version than the PC version. It's always the same thing. Like, you know, the Mac version of creative programs are always better than the PC versions. You know, I've been dealing with this since I was in music production. And, you know, a long time ago, I was a music producer. I was in the music business. I was a producer, I was a recording artist, and I was using Logic Pro. And all of a sudden, eMagic, the company that made Logic Pro, was bought by Apple. And suddenly, Logic Pro was no longer supported on the PC. I had to get a Mac for the first time, so I got a MacBook Pro. And that was actually the first MacBook Pro that was ever made. It was a long time ago. But I enjoyed it, but I went back to PC because now I have a computer that I built from scratch. It's a 10th gen i7. I got 32 gig of RAM. I have the RX 580. I mean, it's a really powerful computer. I mean, I've been able to edit 4K, 10-bit 422 files, no problem, no proxies. I don't have to, you know, downgrade the resolution when I'm editing. Like, it just works, but it's shutting down. You know, the only time it kind of gets stuck is when I use noise reduction or some heavy color grading. But even, you know, even when I just, you know, I'm trying to match my colors and stuff like that, it's been fine. Let me tell you why I originally even bought this computer. So during the pandemic, I shot a film on my phone, and I used the LG V40, which shoots, well, it shoots 4K, but I shot it in 1080, but it was H.265 files. And I also used the LG V30 for some shots, and that's H.264. So they're pretty compressed. And so I bought a Dell XPS 13. Now, I went on YouTube and I got like rave reviews for the XPS 13 for video editing. You know, people were saying 4K footage, no problem, blah, blah, blah. And you know, this made me realize don't ever listen to YouTube like in making major purchases like that. Like, go beyond YouTube. Like, go to YouTube, look at the reviews, but understand that a lot of people got sent the XPS 13 from Dell, and they're not going to say anything bad. And yeah, I could edit like, you know, 3 little files or something like that. But my movie was 2 hours and 7 minutes long. And so the longer the timeline in Davinci Resolve, the more challenging it is. And so anyway, needless to say, the XPS 13, epic fail. didn't work, so I had to get a computer. So I bought a computer from Micro Center, which means I chose all the components. I did like mad research, and I had it built from the ground up, and it's been excellent. Like, it just went through that movie no problem. And then I started, you know, mostly I'm working in 4K now, and it works with no issues at all until now. And so I obviously have to upgrade. Like, the RX 580 is the issue. There's no question. You know, I could upgrade my RAM, but it's not as important. I think it's the graphics card, because, you know, I noticed that, you know, my CPU is running at about 30 degrees or something like that, you know, Fahrenheit. But I mean, 30%. Or maybe it's 30 degrees. No, it can't be 30 degrees. That's below zero. I mean, below freezing. It's 30% of its capacity. But the graphics card is running at almost 85%. And the computer shuts down, and then it starts cycling, like shuts down, restart without me doing anything. And then it gets to a point where I can't even shut it down properly. And then I'm running into the possibilities of, you know, like corrupting files and things like that. Like, I don't want to mess around with it. So, my dilemma: do I upgrade my graphics card? Do I just get like an RTX 4090 or 4070 or something like that? Or do I just bite the bullet and get an M2 Mac, a Mac Studio? And I don't even need the Ultra. You know, like, I've done crazy research. Plus, I have a friend who works at Apple, and he told me, man, you get that Mac Studio, just upgrade the SSD drive because it's faster, and upgrade the graphics because that's what you're doing. He says you'll be good for a long time. Like, you won't have to use proxies. You'll be doing exactly what you've been doing, except it'll be more than you even need. So, and you know, I have all external SSDs I work out of. I'm kind of caught in between, you know, because I think that if I upgrade my graphics card, I might be good for a few years as well. But like I said, I could use ProRes if I get the Mac, so I'm not really sure what to do. But I think what I want to share in this video is that when you're at a point like I'm at, because obviously, you know, maybe some people make suggestions for me or whatever, and I appreciate that. But really what I'm trying to say is you can't just take the advice from YouTube when you're making a decision like this. You have to do a lot of research, and you have to try to talk to people who are actually doing the work that you're doing. You know, I'm working on a movie right now. It's going to be over 2 hours long again. It's 4K, 10-bit, 422. So, or some, you know, some 60 frames per, you know, it's 24 frames per second, but some 60 FPS because I have some slow motion. And sorry, I got bees everywhere. So I'm reaching out to people who are working, doing that kind of work, like long form work, not short commercials, because, you know, if I'm doing stuff that's like 5 minutes long, 8 minutes, even 20 minutes, that's a lot different than a 2-hour film, a 2-hour timeline. And I don't even care about how long it takes to render. I'm not turning things over for clients. Like, I could hit the render button and go to sleep. But now my rendering time is really fast. You know, for a 2-hour film, it renders in about 2 hours, 4K, maybe a little bit longer. But I mean, not like I don't have to go to sleep and wake up in the morning for it to render. So anyway, I'm doing a lot of research. I am scouring through YouTube. I'm looking at everything I can look at. I've watched a million reviews on the M2, and I've now watched a million reviews on these graphics cards, but sadly, most of those reviews are for gaming, and I don't play games, you know, like I'm just using it for Davinci Resolve to edit my films. So, you know, I have seen Casey Farris and some other people talking about the RTX 4090, 4080. I'm leaning in that direction. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm leaning in the direction of the Mac, but I'm still drawn towards perhaps just swapping out my graphics card, saving $1,000. But, you know, over the long term, it might be smarter for me to just get a Mac. And, you know, I could sell my PC too. You know, I could just reformat my C drive, and I could probably get somewhere between $500 and $800 for a computer like that. 10th gen i7, great motherboard, 32 gig of RAM, RTX 580. I'm sure there's a lot of people who can make use of that, and for 500 to 800 bucks, that's a great deal. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I just wanted to come out here. You know, the cool thing about living where I live right now is I'm near a bunch of schools. So right now I'm at Vassar College's Ecological Farms, and I run here in the morning. Beautiful trails back here, and there are organic farms over here that people grow produce and then sell it, and you could join a co-op and get your produce here. I also live really close to Marist College, and I go down to the boathouse a lot and I work out there. I also do some writing down there. It's beautiful, right on the river. You know, I obviously live near the river and the train station in Poughkeepsie. It's pretty cool around here. You know, somebody who's lived in New York City most of his life, I was a little nervous, you know. I mean, I'm not happy that every restaurant is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Like, whoever heard of something like that? And certainly don't expect to be able to, you know, like get something to eat late at night here. But, you know, living in New York City most of my life, I was spoiled, you know. That's like living in a hotel. You just walk down to the lobby, you can get anything you want at any time. So that's pretty cool. But I love it up here. It's really beautiful, it's peaceful, and most importantly, I'm feeling creative and I'm getting all my work done. So anyway, thanks for watching this. I'm probably going to get this Mac pretty soon. I'm stopped right now because I can't work. Like, I'm continuing to record. I'm going to be finished shooting this film by the end of the month, but I have to get this computer thing figured out within the next week or so. So I got to make a decision. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, feel free, but just know that I'm going to do a lot more research, and research from people who are doing the similar kind of work that I'm doing, making long form films or documentaries, like 2-hour stories, not 10-minute commercials, 15-minute stuff like that, like something that's much longer that can handle a long timeline where the computer can hang in there for a long time. So yeah. All right, thanks for watching. I haven't been as consistent with my YouTube videos. Please hit the like button and please subscribe. I'm going to start saying that now because I really want to get this page monetized. I'm using the Panasonic S5. I'm shooting with the Minolta Rokkor 50mm f1.4, and this is how you manually focus. You come over here, I drop my backpack over here, I focused on it, I pushed it out of the way. I'm shooting at f8, so I know I'm in focus. And even if I was at f4, even f2.8, I could probably pull this off. f1.4, 1.8, I better be close to the camera. Even f2. Even f2.8, I got to be kind of close to the camera. Otherwise, it's going to be going in and out of focus a lot. But I love manual lenses. I love working with anamorphic lenses. That's one of the reasons I love this camera so much, because I don't have to use an external monitor. So yeah, high praise for the Lumix S5, the original, the OG. Although I'm not mad at the S5 Mark II or the Mark II X. I would definitely like to get my hands on one of those at some point, because autofocus is good. I only have one autofocus lens. I have the Sigma 28-70 f2.8, and I love that lens, but I love these a lot more. I have this one, the Rokkor, and I also have a Minolta 28mm f2.8 Telesor, which is also an old vintage lens, manual obviously, and I just love working with manual lenses. I just love the way they look. They look a little bit different. They're a little bit grungier, grimier, you know, kind of edgy like me. So yeah, shoot your personality. Thanks for watching. I'll shut up now. Peace.